Today, I chatted with SamYam, who is an expert programmer and who has amassed over 120,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel focusing on Unity tutorials.
A lot of tutorials, like from random people, is just so boring. My attention span cannot handle this. We're now from a different era. We're TikTok brains. But I would go and I would like go and compete. And I actually won quite a lot of like little prizes and whatnot. It was enough to pay like the expenses of the trips. I would like travel. Multiplayer
I
was
see.
so difficult because not only did we not know what we were doing, because I didn't know how to set it up well.
Now, this was a jam-packed conversation, which I had a ton of fun in as I got to pick her brain as what it's like being a kind of programmer-first developer, and also what it's been like transitioning from her really successful YouTube career and turn that into what's becoming a solo dev career as well. We also got into some fun conversations about some hackathons, which was really interesting to learn about, and how she actually kind of dominated those and won some. She was a little more humble than that, but it was really fun. And then one interesting thing that came up is that she's now released 2 commercial Steam games, but her second one actually did a little bit worse than her first one. So she learned a ton and was willing to share that with me and in turn you, and I'm just excited to share this really cool conversation. Now, before we jump straight into the video, I want to let you know about something interesting that's happening in the Dev Dream community. So we launched a Discord recently, and I want to find ways to bring a lot of value to you. And the first way that that's going to happen is that Corey Darby, aka Thornity, has agreed to do a Discord exclusive kind of webinar presentation over what he's thinking about these days. So he's already told me the title of his talk is going to be Making a Fun Game Isn't Enough, and he's developed a framework for how he's thinking about releasing his first $1 million game. Now, if you haven't heard of Corey, he is one of the developers of a game about feeding a black hole, which has recently amassed over $500,000. So getting to $1 million is his next big dream. So he's going to be breaking down all the things he's looking at and thinking about, and will also include a Q&A segment in there. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to learn from Thornity, well, just join the Discord. The link is in the description. Perfectly free, and Thornity is also giving away this information for free. All you have to do is be a part of that Discord. So I hope to see you there. And without any further ado, without any more ad reads or self-promotion, let's get straight to this cool conversation. Okay, well, Sam, thanks for joining me today. Super excited to chat. I would love to just start with a little bit about the why that you do this. So in your YouTube description, you say, at the end, you're also making game development fun. Why would you say that that's important for you?
Well, when I started learning game development, I learned by myself through YouTube tutorials back in the day. I watched like Code Monkey and everything. So it was super surreal to meet him a few years later. Code Monkey was great. But there were some others that I would use. And personally, I only got into game dev when I joined college, only kind of out of necessity, because I somehow got myself into the position of the president of the virtual reality club. And I was supposed to like give presentations on how to use Unity, and I had like
Nice.
never used Unity. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, how I need to learn this. So over the summer, I just like hyper focused, and I like put out a few games. And during that period, I used YouTube a lot and documentation, and I was like, it was fine for the most part, but I felt like, I don't know, a lot of tutorials, like from random people, it was just so boring. And it was just like so monotone. And I was like, it says and and I'm like, oh my God, get to the point. My attention span cannot handle this. We're now from a different era. We're TikTok brains. Okay, well, back then there wasn't TikTok, but it was already starting. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I feel like this should be way more fun. Like even in college, I can never pay attention because I'm like, these people are just rambling off about the most random things. And I felt like, for me, game dev felt like this huge mystical thing that I never got into until I was kind of forced to, because I thought it was, I don't know, super complicated, which it is, to be fair. But it's just because I feel like it's not explained well a lot of the times. And so one of the reasons I started the channel. I was bored during COVID though. But one of the reasons I started, I was like, there has to be a better way to teach people this stuff because this is just so monotonous. I don't know. That's not the word. That's not the right word. I don't know. English. Um yeah, I was just like, this needs a better format because this is fun. Making games should be fun. Well, sort of. Games are fun. Making them should be kind of fun, at least. Half not fun. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and another thing I think about getting into game dev is that there's a little bit of, and with programming in particular, there's a little bit of like a mystique around it, I think, of like only the super intelligent, IQ 150 people could do it. And I think a little bit of that comes from like what you're saying is this, just the things we have available to learn are not that accessible. And I think your content does a really good job at bridging some of those gaps. Going back even a little farther, what is it about games that motivates you to want to make them? Did you grow up a gamer? Did you have something specifically that you wanted to build? Where does your desire to make games come from?
Yeah, I was always a gamer. It started when I was like 4 years old, when my dad let me use his Nintendo 64. And the first game I ever played was Super Mario 64. So you can imagine, like, I don't know why my camera keeps like freaking out focus wise, but just ignore that. You can imagine like me, like one of the playing at 4 years old, like the technological innovation on 3D on the Nintendo 64, and I was like, holy moly, like this is cool. I was like starstruck, and I would just play that all day, every day. And I was just like, I want to make this, and I just knew when I was young, and I was like, I want to make games, and I just grew up playing a lot of games, the PlayStation 2, then the 3, then the 4. The Wii, the Game Boy Advance SP, like the flip one, the 3DS, the DS. Like I don't know, I had so many consoles. So I just grew up a gamer, and I knew I wanted to make games, but I just never. I was actually a YouTuber when I was younger too. I've been doing YouTube for a long time, just not successfully. And I was just playing games on my YouTube channel. I knew I wanted to make games, but I didn't know how.
Yeah, that's awesome. I resonate with a lot of that. One of my favorite memories growing up is usually around Christmas. We would put whatever game system we had at the time in the living room, and like our whole family would play, and like my mom and dad would
Yeah.
get in on it. And so I resonate with that. And then also, yeah, everybody that tries YouTube, at least I think that is a gamer, tries by just playing games, and it usually goes poorly. So I
Yeah.
resonate with that as well. Also did that.
Yeah. To be fair, I was very young. I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like, I want to
That's
be
totally
a
fine.
YouTuber.
Right. Who doesn't though? So that makes sense. That's very cool.
Yeah. But now that
Just
you
one more.
mention it, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Now that you mention it, I remember going over to my friend's house and we would play LAN. And I was like, that is such a good experience that nowadays you just don't see that anymore. That was
Yep.
just so fun. But another reason I wanted to make games was just because of that. You can create basically anything you wanted. Have your own fantasy world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I missed the LAN parties. Like I'm just slightly too old / when I was gaming, and like at the time I would have gotten it. I just didn't have any friends that did it. Like so I was a little
Yeah.
bit too much to miss that era, but like had times like we, 3 friends would all bring a TV and we'd all play together. It was kind of like that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah, continuing on, just learning about your programming. You mentioned, I listened to your interview with Thomas Stewart, and you said that you also went and did hackathons.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is that? That sounds crazy. I don't even know what that means.
I was wondering where you got that question from. Like, I was like, I don't mention that. So a hackathon is where you, it's usually like a 24, 48-hour event, maybe 72 hours, depends. And you have to like make something kind of from scratch. So based on like some theme that they give you, it's kind of like a game jam, but it's just for more general purpose, like software engineering things. But they would host them all over the world, and I would go to travel to them. And these were more like Web3 blockchain stuff. I was like really into that. Not like the scammy part. but it's decentralized. I really like the decentralized aspects of, I don't know, I like tech in general, but I would go and I would like go and compete, and actually won quite a lot of like little prizes and whatnot. It was enough to pay like the expenses of the trips. I would like travel.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little game I enjoyed. I was like, how can I like win this?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because a
Yeah,
lot
I
of it is
imagined.
just, yeah,
Sorry,
my
go
bad.
ahead.
No, a lot of it is just having a good idea and presenting it, because you can't make much in like 24 hours. Like, what are you gonna do? Well, now you can with AI, but
Right. Yeah, I imagined when I heard hackathon that it was maybe like a almost like cybersecurity thing where like people were
no.
getting you to, break their systems, but this is different. So like what's an example of something that you would have built in Web3? Like, do you remember any of the projects that were interesting?
One hackathon I won was I came up with the idea of like a, I don't know, a decentralized, like I forget, a resume checking service. So like people would vouch for you and your skills, kind of like LinkedIn, but like
Yeah.
it would like be connected to like a job site or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
quite remember it totally. It was a few
Sure.
years. My memory's fuzzy. But the idea is what won. And yeah,
Right.
the hackathons are for ideas. But yeah, that was a fun time of my life in the past now.
Yeah. Uh, I was going to ask you about blockchain technology, but it sounds like you mostly moved on from that life. Do you think it
Oh
like, because
yeah.
I feel like in the collective consciousness, we had our Bitcoin moment and NFTs were
No.
going to be the next big thing, but now that's kind of like maybe not. Do you think blockchain technology will be a part of our life in the next 10 years?
It's kind of hard to tell now with AI, because now AI can easily reproduce everything. But I think that's why it would be important, because like if you want to like verify that you own something, like blockchain would be the way to like actually verify you own something versus someone just copying it.
That makes
But
sense.
it's
Yeah.
very hard to put that in practice. Like it's great in
Right.
theory, but in practice, like how would that even work? Like who's gonna keep track of that? Like costs money. Like
Right.
the speed of AI is way faster. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm blurring
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's a really fun thing that we'll figure out as life happens.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Will there be floating cars? We still don't know. There should have been by now, apparently.
Yeah, hey, Japan launched some of their first like publicly available flying cars, and I think you can do it right now. I read an article.
Really?
Hope that I should cite my sources, because now that I say it out loud, maybe I got. I don't
Are they
know.
like little
But
helicopters?
yeah, they're like really small, like almost the size of like a smart car was the one that I saw.
Huh.
But they were like sort of testing. I need to actually research and see if that's real.
Okay.
But
That's interesting. That would not work in the US. I
yeah,
feel. That would be a
no,
horrible
yeah.
shit
No,
show. Excuse my
definitely
language.
different. Yeah, you can say whatever you want. It's okay. We're assuming adults are watching this podcast. Anyway, that's a huge side tangent. I do also want to talk about, not just programming, but also your game design. This is more of a game dev focused podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
And so getting into some of your games, your most recent release was Bus Buddies, where I'll just read the description as I pulled it off of Steam, where you sculpt ridiculous marble statues with up to 8 buddies in this chaotic party game. Chisel, punch, or slam your way into questionable masterpieces, guided by random people or from your friends' terrible ideas. So where did the idea for that game come from?
Yeah, so my friend and I last year were like, we need to make a friend swap game because that's what's trending now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think of ideas. My brain thinks a lot. Well, everyone's brains thinks a lot, but I think a lot of random things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like pull from random things. I remember things that I've randomly watched or stuff like that. And I was just trying to think of a game where like you could cooperate together, because I really like the idea of a big walk. I don't know if you've heard of that game, but it's a co-op game. It's not out yet.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I don't know if that was the game that I'm thought about, because my memory cannot remember right now. But it's like basically you're like little stickman things and you go around the world and you kind of collaborate together to explore stuff. And I was like, I really like the idea of collaborating in Friendslop because usually it's competing or but I was thinking of like sports in a way, like what sports can be converted into Friendslop, and then I thought about sculpting and I was like, I've not really seen a sculpting game. And that was it. I was like, let's make a sculpting. To be fair, I should have put more thought into it. I was like, this will be easy. We'll just use this Unity asset to make the statues. No, it was not easy at all. So yeah, I should have thought more into it.
Yeah, was it difficult because of the sculpting mechanics or just because it was multiplayer? What made it so difficult?
Everything, yeah. So the sculpting, we wanted it to be like super cool. So we used an asset called Mudbun, which basically uses SDFs to make like real-time volumetric things. And so it basically lets you add and subtract from objects real time. But it wasn't really meant for it to be used in a game, like, and with so many statues at the same time with so many objects. So Walter, my friend, the one I worked on the game with, he had to like rewrite a lot of the source of the package itself to make it faster and also to make it synchronous because it wasn't made for multiplayer. So multiplayer was so difficult because not only did we not know what we were doing, because I didn't know how to set it up well, the multiplayer project, because I've done like a small thing, but I haven't done like a huge game with a lobby system, many players at once, statues with SDFs, like to transmit all that data was very complicated. So yes, it was just a very complicated idea in general, in hindsight.
Yeah, taking on multiplayer as a small team is insane, but I'm always so fascinated by the people that dive in and do it. You mentioned you had a partner. Was it just a 2-person team, or what was kind of your team balance or build out?
Yeah, it was just me and him. We also made the desktop cat cafe game together. So we were both developers.
Nice. Very cool. And then did you both spread or share all of the ideas, or did one of you handle art and one of you handle sound, or what's your guys' kind of task delegation?
Yeah, so it really depends because we're both mainly developers. He was better with the art stuff, so he would handle a lot of the art stuff, but he would also handle a lot of the complicated math stuff because he's also very good at and tools. He's good with tools and complicated math stuff. So he would handle the statue creation. Like I haven't looked at his code. I was like, I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on here. I was like, math, like these super, like I didn't even learn this in college, man. I don't know what's going on. But he did a lot of the complicated stuff and synchronization. I handled. For Bus Buddies, and specifically, I handled like the 3D menu. I handled like the characters. I handled a lot of the game flow, like I made it's called the Bust Lobby Manager, and I basically stuffed everything into that one file, and I don't know, it was like 8,000 lines long or 7,000. And I swear I would keep getting lost constantly. Like I could never find anything. Because it was just one big file, and it was such a mess. I also handled you can actually customize your character by drawing on it. So I bought an asset for that, and I tweaked it to be able to do that with a little bit of Copilot. It was like a lot of math. I was like, this is a lot. So yeah, we kind of split. He helped with some of the game flow. It was like. And whenever I was like, how do I do this? He would like go in and then, I don't know. It was just kind of very combined effort on both ends.
Yeah, I actually just was lucky enough to interview my first team. Their episode's not out yet, but I interviewed a small team of 3, and they
Mm-hmm.
talked a lot about how they really enjoyed working on a team because you could just be a little more focused, people to bounce ideas off of. And I've heard a lot of people in the game dev community say that small teams is their favorite way to work. Would you agree with that, or do you also sometimes prefer working solo and just getting things done on your own?
I think it depends. For me, it definitely helped get me started because I felt very, what's the word? Pressure? Not pressure. Intimidated? Yes, intimidated
Mm,
to make a Steam game. And I would have this issue where I would start a project and I would have an idea and I start another project while I'm still on the same project. And just working with someone also helped on that aspect, kind of like keeping you on track because now you have like another human that depends on you. And for coding, it definitely made some stuff faster. Like, you can split tasks, and if you have questions, you're not like all alone. But I do prefer to work solo in general, just because like sometimes it's more control, and I know exactly what parts, like what's moving. I know exactly the whole code base, and I could
yeah.
easily change it. Like one problem I had was because I didn't really know how to handle all the map stuff. I couldn't really, if we had a problem, I had to wait
Mm,
for them to fix it because I just didn't know how,
yeah.
because I didn't know my way around it, and it would have taken too long for me to figure out how versus just waiting. So there's like pros and cons to both. Um, in most people's cases, they probably work better with someone, but you have to, you know, pick a good partner. Um, so it really depends. But the next games I'm gonna be solo. I'm gonna be trying that out.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, that sense of accountability to someone else to like kind of stay motivated or stay on track. I've heard other people mention that as well. But everything you
Mm-hmm.
said makes sense, and good luck with
Yeah.
your solo projects. That will be
Thank
cool
you.
too. Circling back to Bust Buddies, it looks like just based on reviews, it didn't do quite as well as Desktop Cat Cafe. I'm just curious
No.
if that surprised you, what your expectations were going in with that game.
Um. Yeah. It totally flopped. Um. At the moment, it did not surprise me because we were supposed to launch the game faster, but we took too long
Mm,
making it. There were a lot of problems we had. For example, we took longer than expected. We didn't play test early enough, so we didn't like realize like halfway through it wasn't like fun until we like played with our friends and they were like, it's not fun. And we're like, oh
oh no.
no.
Yikes.
And we spent like a lot of time building these systems. Like a lot of the tools, like to edit the statue, a lot of them weren't like what's the word? English. Easy to understand, like intuitive.
Mm,
And a lot of the time they wouldn't be used. So like you had these a lot of tools and then like half of them wouldn't be used. Because also it depends like how they look as well, and we didn't even take that into account. Let's make this weird looking tool. They'll want to use it, but no, actually that made them not want to use it because they were like, I don't want this to ruin the statue. Like things that
uh,
we would think were like common, like oh, people want to use the gerbil launcher. In reality, like
the Dribble Launcher sounds
like
perfect for a party game, though.
like my friends like barely picked it up because they were like, what is this? Like, and there's
Mm,
that we didn't have a lack of tutorial. The marketing also, I did not do an amazing job. I tried for a little bit, but I got burnt out is the other thing, because the last two projects we made, we were both like, oh, we'll make this in 2 months. And so this one also took like 8 months. And so we didn't really take a break after the desktop cat cafe. We just kept going. And it's just mismanaged expectations of like, oh, now I have to deal with this for the next 6 months of my life. And now I'm burnt out and I don't really care anymore. Like I
yeah.
care, but I don't care that much as before because I didn't expect this to take this long. So when we launched, we only had 600 wish list. So yeah, I wasn't. And the day that we launched, we were late on the time as well. And it was a Friday. So yes, I kind of expected it. But I
Yeah.
was like, we just need to get this out because we were both like feeling like done with it,
Yeah.
but we just wanted to publish it because it was done. It was just some bugs that were like so annoying, but we
Yeah.
finally figured them out.
Yeah. Well, congrats on finishing the game. I mean, pushing through a
Thank you.
project that you're kind of over with is still, I mean, a big accomplishment. And getting any game on Steam is, in a way, a success, but obviously you want them to be financially successful. I'm
Yeah.
curious for anyone that is maybe thinking about developing, in particular, a multiplayer game where maybe it's hard to test. Did you learn anything that you would do differently to maybe find out if it's fun earlier, especially when you have such complex tools that you would need to maybe test it, like in your case? Did you learn anything that could help someone else in that case?
Yeah. You don't need to make all the mechanics to test it. You can actually make like a super simple thing with like prototypes and like boxes and whatnot just to test if the overall flow makes sense. Like we thought that we had to make all the statue stuff work first before all the fancy maths SDFs before testing, but that actually we could have just put boxes together and had people like smash boxes and that would have been the same thing. Um
Ah,
so like super simplifying it just to make sure it's fun before doing the whole thing. Um the other one was it was actually a hassle to set like you're supposed to design with multiplayer in mind. Yes. However, since we designed with multiplayer in mind and in Unity, we basically made it a requirement to like test with two people. You have to
mm.
test with two people to see if it's synchronized, right? But that's also an
Yeah.
issue because now when we connected it to Steamworks, our game, we did that from the start. Unity has this thing where it lets you test two multiplayer instances at once, one side by side. However, if you're on the same Steam account, it doesn't let you do that because you
Oh,
can only be
oh
running
man, that's so
one at a
frustrating.
time. So we would either have to have another entire computer, and just every time I push the change, then on that computer I pull the change, and then I test in that Unity editor, or I'd have to build it and then transfer the build to another computer to be able to test each time if something was synchronizing correctly. That was incredibly annoying because I either had to wait for him to like test, or I had to build the whole game, or I had to pull the game and then like save the game, have it on my Mac. So luckily I have two computers. But his laptop like borked in the middle of the whole thing.
Oh
So
no.
he couldn't test anymore after a while. And it was like
Yikes.
depending on me to test. So yeah, just be careful on how you set up. Like if I knew, I would not have integrated Steam until I made sure that like,
Yeah.
because then it required like a different account, but you can't have two accounts on this
Hmm.
same. Yeah, there's other ways probably to do it, like having a virtual machine instance or something. But that was the single most friction point, like testing to see if it worked for us.
Yeah, I don't know if I will ever try multiplayer. Every time I talk to a dev that has tried it, I learn of a new thing that's challenging. Like, I've never heard anyone get into the specifics of testing on the same machine. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds awful. So,
Yeah, and I like
but
you need to know if it's our whole problems were all synchronization related, like
wow.
almost all of them, or like spawning, which also is synchronization related. Like
Yeah,
that the client has like a different like parent and child list than the
yeah.
host because it doesn't get updated. And oh my god, Unity's netcode was such a hassle. Oh my
Yeah, are
god.
you glad now that you
Hmm.
have the multiplayer experience? And would you consider trying it again, or are you just like, nope, never again?
Um, I'm glad I have it. I will try it, not with Unity's netcode. Personally, it was just it was fine for some stuff, but for our case, it was just such a hassle because our statues the statue objects were just so incredibly complicated. Like, you don't understand how many scripts we had on the same object. Because we were trying to follow, like, I don't know, if like the entity component system format in a way, a little bit, where it's kind of you split everything up into like its chunks, almost like you have your health script, you have your blah, 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 and everything's like a different script. However, we did that for the statues and the tools, and it just ended up being so many different scripts that had to be synchronized at the same time with so many different layers because, you have your statue, and the statue is like has the children, so it has like two different colliders for two different situations. Then each operation you make on the statue is another object. So you had like these huge objects that you had to synchronize, and Unity does not make it easy to spawn like child and parents network.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know if I'm being too technical.
No, I love the technical side, and I'm pretty sure the audience will enjoy the technical stuff as well. So feel free to dive in as deep as you want. I find it
Okay.
really interesting to learn about the kind of underlying inside pieces of games. So that's really fascinating. You mentioned Unity a couple times and just that it had some difficulties. I've always felt, and I'm not a super strong programmer and haven't made a ton, but I felt like Unity was, for me, like too bloated and kind of hard to work with as a beginner. And so I actually, once I got into something like Game Maker, had a lot more fun.
Yeah.
What do you stick with Unity, or do you kind of use a variety of game engines for your projects?
So for one, Boombi, I was using Game Maker, mostly because they sponsored me, and
Nice.
I enjoyed the kind of do it by yourself from scratch. It was simpler, but I do miss, like, I do like that in Unity you have way more things to build off of. Like a Game Maker, it's great for 2D games, but anything other than that, I was like,
Right.
I was like 3D, I was like, like I had to like import a raycasting package because it's like raycasting is not even
Sure.
built into the engine. I was like, I kind of need this because I'm used to that. Unity, is bloated. Yes, Unreal is more bloated. To be fair, if you've tried Unreal, it's like
I have not tried Unreal yet,
it looks
so
like a like inside of a spaceship navigation in some. I don't know. Sometimes it's faster than Unity, ironically. I think Unity's been getting faster in the last year. Like in the last 1 or 2 years, it was so horribly slow. Like it just takes forever to compile. Now it's a tad faster. I think it depends on the project. But yeah, I stick to Unity because it's really flexible and there's a lot of assets that I can use, which is the best thing. Unreal, unfortunately I love it in a way, but I tried it and it's just the blueprints, I kept getting lost. Like I bought an asset and there was like 15 interfaces.
wow.
And I kept getting lost because it's like this huge graph. And I'm like, what is what? I can't see it. I have to like zoom in and then I have to find the thing. I'm sure you can search for it, but it's just mental mapping was not there. With Unity, I know exactly like, okay, I have my scripts. Everything's like tidy. I tried Godot. It was fine. And I don't know. It didn't really like encourage me that much to switch.
Sure.
I think it was just fine.
Yeah.
I think more effort would whatever.
Yeah. Well, Unity still has a ton of pros. I mean, even just the asset store alone and the amount of documentation and help you can go find out there is still really, really strong. So a lot of good reasons to use Unity. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Circling back to your games, Bust Buddies is not the only game you've made. You also made Desktop Cat Cafe, which, if anyone remembers Rusty's Retirement, where it like sits at the bottom of the screen, it's kind of like that, except with a cat cafe. So where did your motivation for that game come from, or where did that idea spawn from?
Yeah, actually from Rusty's Retirement.
Nice.
I saw it and I was like, this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We should make one. And we were gonna make a simple 2D. We were thinking isometric, like Cat Cafe, but we overscoped, which was our
Sure.
And we were like, let's make it 3D. And then 3D brought a lot of challenges with like the whole desktop, and then the whole UX of it was just, how do we put this in 3D? Because we didn't really find any like 3D examples, so we basically had to like pioneer how it would look. And so at the end of the day, we decided on like just a ground plane that was, angled, and instead of indoors, we would do outdoors. Because indoors, we realized there was too many. If you put like a cat cafe, it was gonna take up the whole screen.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
we were like, outdoors would be better, and we had to really figure out like good transparency. Because for the 2D game, it's easier because his was just like a block.
Right.
Ours was like, oh, now you have the cat and you have the ear, but you have to be able to click in between the cats to the background.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where we got the idea
Yeah,
from.
looking back, are you glad you went 3D, or do you wish you would have
No.
just went 2D and left it more simple?
I think 3D wasn't a bad idea, but I think we overscoped. Like, in the meanwhile, there was one that came out called Rapuka's Island. That was 3D, but it was just a little island, and all it would do was just cut grass. And it sold so many copies. And we were just like, oh my God, we did all this, like thinking like the players would want this and this and this. And we were like, all they wanted to do is watch a little frog cut grass. And we were like, I think I realized that games don't need to be this serious sometimes.
Yeah, especially, I'm not really an idle game person, and especially one that sits at the bottom of your screen, I imagine can be almost even more idle because it's not like something you're planning to like actively play. Do you think you guys just almost made like a regular idle game that could have been just a full screen experience, or what's your thoughts on that?
It definitely was basically a regular idle game, but in a desktop format, which was another mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes. But one of the mistakes is that I don't play idle games. And so I was making an idle game and a cozy game without playing them. So I didn't really know what the audience wanted or like what was expected. And I was combining two genres with a desktop game. So like 3 unknowns. And I forgot the initial question.
Yeah, it was
What was it?
just kind of your thoughts on if you ended up making like a full idle game, and if it would have maybe even done better as just a regular idle game. But then you go ahead.
I don't think it would have done better, just because I think it's the uniqueness of it that's sold it, the copies, and it wasn't like, it's fun, but it's not like, oh my God, it should be its own full game. Personally, I don't know. Again, I don't know, because I don't know what idle people like or cozy games. That's the problem.
Yeah, what do you think the balance is for a game designer or game dev in making something in a genre you play versus like kind of how far can you branch out and still make a good game, and not limit yourselves to maybe just what you enjoy yourself? How do you balance that yourself?
Well, by my past experience, not well so far. I do definitely think you can make games that aren't what you usually play, but if you do, you should definitely play a few of those games, or at least like watch tutorial playthroughs of them, or at least play like an hour, just like to get the main idea. Because sometimes you don't realize small things that are specific to those type of games that you wouldn't know otherwise, rather than playing. I think you should be able to like do whatever game you want, though. I don't think you should limit yourself based on what you play.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why do you think Desktop Cat Cafe did better than Bus Buddies? Do you think it was just the novelty of those desktop games at the time, or is it just more appealing?
Yeah, the novelty, I did a better job marketing, so I was more consistent. We entered in Next Fest as well. And that gave us like 2,000 or 3,000 wish lists, I think 2,000. And then what gave us a lot of wish list was a women's fest that we entered in. And that's because it was like directly correlated with the audience we wanted, which is like a women's fest, cozy. So we have a cozy game. And those directly, I think we got like 5,000 or 6,000 wish lists from that. I'm not sure. So just being in those fests were very beneficial to us. And for Bus Buddies, we didn't join in any fests. It was kind of like hidden. I didn't really like announce it as much because I didn't even know when we were going to publish it, to be honest.
Sure.
But yeah, it was just better advertising. And it does look cute. It's better, like a Steam page. Better cover as well. Like you can get the idea pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, even this one in particular, even just from the name, you kind of have a sense like it's a cat cafe on your desktop. So that's like really good marketing even right there.
Yeah. Versus Bus Buddies. Like people were like, what does that mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's a joke.
Right.
I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a joke.
Yeah. The joke is clever. Yeah. I don't know what the gameplay is just by hearing it though.
Yeah. But most games are like that in a way.
That's true. That's very true.
So it depends.
Were there any technical difficulties in getting a game to run just at the bottom of the screen? Like, how do you actually do that?
Yeah, so, well, this is one of the things Walter handled, so I don't know, like, the super specifics, but I do remember because it was 3D, it was very complicated. Essentially, instead of a green screen, because our grass is green, we had, like, a pink screen in the background, and it's actually faked. So we actually pipe the click into, like, he used the actual C++ Windows API. So we have like the C++ in the project. And it was very complicated because he actually, Windows doesn't really tell you when an application has kind of been loaded. Because we had to wait for some stuff to load before displaying the application and like piping the mouse clicks. And in the C++, he just did a ton of like, not awaits, I don't know the equivalent, but like sleep, like the thread of the sleep, like sleep for X seconds. And then he kept doing that like 50 times after each step has occurred in the starting of an application to basically ask when it's done loading. So when it's done loading, then he can begin to like fake the whole interaction. And that was just a quick fix he came up with after he figured out how to like make it true transparency. I don't know how, but I don't think we've implemented that yet because it would have been a whole rewrite.
Sure. Yeah.
Of the system. So yes, it was very complicated.
Yeah, that's very cool. That was kind of like my first thought of just like, how do you actually do that? Like, I think it's one of those things that, yeah, that's really cool.
Pink screen.
When you look at it, you're like, yeah, it makes sense. It's transparent or it doesn't exist. And then I was like, how do you actually do it though? So that's cool. Thanks for sharing. Now, in addition to making games, though, you also have a super successful YouTube channel, which I would also love to pick your brain on as someone that's trying to be on YouTube. Do you remember, I mean, you mentioned that you were kind of wanted to be a YouTuber as a kid. Why did you decide to make a game dev channel, if you remember?
Yeah, so I was bored and I was looking for something to, in a way, grow my portfolio. But I was also like, oh, I just want to like teach. I didn't really think about it much, really. I was just like, oh, I'll just make a game dev. Like I've taught in my VR club. You know, I can teach them. So I just kind of started it willy-nilly because I was bored. I was like, maybe it turns into something. Like I wasn't really thinking of what it would turn into. And I just kept making a lot of Unity tutorials until, you know, someone noticed. Unity noticed, I suppose. And I just picked a specific niche because after a while I was like, I want to grow. So I just picked the input system, which I became known as the input system person. So you just go if you have an input system tutorial. That's me. And that's what grew my channel, actually. Just having a lot of tutorials on the input system. Good tutorials.
Yeah, super smart to just pick one thing so that people always go back to you. That's very clever. Would
Yeah.
you, I know you started as a tutorial channel, but now you have devlogs, you have like this series where you pay Fiverr devs to do stuff. How would you describe what the channel has become?
Yeah, so after a while, I got really tired of tutorials. I got burnt out. Also, it's a
Hmm.
lot of work. Like, people are constantly asking you stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And at first, I would spend 2 hours every day,
Wow.
answering to everyone's like, I would leave no question unturned. Excuse me.
Impressive.
Mm. And I got burned out. And people are just very, what's the word? Like, demanding. What's the word? Like, they feel like they're owed it.
Entitled?
Entitled. Yes, there's
Maybe?
a lot of entitled people.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt like I was entitled to give them my time,
Yeah.
and energy to answer their questions, and then they don't even, like, say thank you a lot of the times. But anyways, I got burnt
Crazy.
out, and I wasn't even making a lot of money off of it. I was like, my
Right.
Patreon, you can get all the code for, like, $5. I was like, yeah. But Unity started sponsoring me, which was nice, but after a while, I was like, I wanna get more views and be more general because I also wanna make games.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like having a more general audience would help, advertise that game, which it did not help in my case for these two games because the audience did not convert. However, it is always good to have more people, watching your stuff in general. So I was like, I just want more people. So I'm gonna transition into more general content and like try to do more challenges. Still do, like, explanations, but in a more high-level overview, not just, like, me talking about code. Like, "This line does this line does
Right.
that." No, just, like, how does this overarching system kind of work and, like, put
Mm-hmm.
my take on it. And the Fiverr stuff, honestly, it was just because they wanted to sponsor the video, and I was like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Um, I did challenges for a while, they did okay. But a lot of my explanation videos and game engine videos did better, like more high level ones. So right now I'm just trying stuff I'm still trying. I've been always just constantly trying things until I'm like satisfied. Like a lot of people are scared to like try different channels, but I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna try it. Which also has the negative effect of like sponsors, because like my recent videos have not been doing well. They're like, oh, your recent videos got only X amount of views. We don't want to pay you this money. And I'm like, yes, but if you go like a little bit more back, you'll see that those
Right.
videos did well, which is the videos, a similar video. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of you kind of have to adapt with all this stuff changing, and with AI now YouTube is changing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
how they work. So I'm always like I need to adapt and I need to figure out what's popping, like what'll get my face out there. And I think brand is going to be really important for the upcoming years. So I'm just trying to be more brand recognizable in a way. I'm still trying to figure it out though.
Yeah, no, that's great. Um, I thought it was really impressive that the Fiverr videos did so well because I was pretty sure they were a sponsored thing, but they're like
Yeah.
some of your most successful videos. So that's because normally I think of a sponsored video as, a sponsor comes in and you maybe make an individual video and they usually do less because it's like a product. But that one just
Hmm.
like really kind of caught something special, I guess, so to speak. So why do you think those resonate with people so well?
Yeah. Well, I actually made sure to research it before accepting. There was another two YouTubers or three that would do Fiverr challenges, and they did well. So I already knew that people like them. And then people like challenges, like people like stuff that they might want to use, like Fiverr. Like they're like, what can I get out of like could I possibly like hire a Fiverr person? So there's already that like interest. And then I kind of just related it to more of my audience. So I just like focused on like the game engine itself. So I just think it was a good audience match in general. Like it was technical, but it wasn't like I had to make the game, which is very
Mm-hmm.
nice. I was like, this is nice. hire people, and then I make a video on it.
Yeah, it does seem like a super sustainable format in that sense of like, even someone like Blackthorn Prod recently has gotten a lot of negative
Yeah.
feedback about like, you're getting these devs to put all this time without paying them, but Fiverr, you're just paying them. And so it really
Yeah.
works out. So
Yeah, you're paying them and you're tipping them. But I do get a lot of hate, though. A lot of hate, actually.
that will always exist no matter
Yeah.
what. That's unavoidable, sadly.
Yeah. The negative part is that, like, the last 2 Fiverr videos didn't do well. So now it's like, oh, like, after a while, they're like, okay. Like, if the videos don't do well, then you don't get as much sponsors later. It's part of life, really. Hit or
That's
miss.
too bad. Yeah. I do have a couple like biz dev questions for you, but one more on YouTube before we jump ahead. You mentioned just that the platform's changing a lot with kind of YouTube's use of AI. And so you've been on the channel long enough to kind of see some of the changes of YouTube the past couple of years. Just, I guess the question is for anyone watching that is thinking about trying to do kind of what you're doing. They're trying to maybe build their brand through YouTube. They want to do game dev content. Is there anything about this era that we're coming into you think that should be a particular focus for someone that wants to do that?
Let's see. Well, if you want to start YouTube, the best time is always now. Like, you can't keep putting it off. Because a lot of people will put it off thinking, oh, it's not good or there's too many people. But a lot of people are always saying that. And every day there's new channels that grow out of nowhere. Right now, honestly, it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy. Even I'm still like, oh my God, I can't figure it out sometimes. I'm like, like some videos, a lot of videos don't hit. And I'm like, oh my God, there's just so many factors to take into account. So you have to have a lot of perseverance. And you have to be kind of stubborn. Like, you have to keep doing it. You have to try a lot of stuff. The easiest way to get started, right now, I'd say, is either shorts. Shorts are really like not lower effort, but you really have to hook them. So you have to be really good with hooks. But with shorts, you can do a lot of them because they're shorter. So you can kind of learn little by little. So that's what kind of you want to do. You want to start like learning how the algorithm works. Like, you just don't want to like, you can jump into it blindly, but that's what I did for like 10 years and it didn't work, obviously. So you kind of want to get a feel for the algorithm. And all those YouTube videos that tell you how to like do YouTube well, you should watch them because they actually teach you things. Yeah, I didn't do that. I actually joined 2 courses to help teach me YouTube.
Oh, nice.
But for long form videos, or you have to like be able to capture someone's attention immediately, like with the hook, the thumbnail, the title. They're all important. And then the script, and then you have to like be interesting, and then it has to like keep them like watching, and the editing like has to be either good or entertainment. They don't have an entertainment editing doesn't have to be good. It could just be something simple, but something has to like hook them. So it is really difficult, but don't let it scare you. I'd start little by little. Like, just if you're intimidated, just post something. Like anything to get like that initial hesitance out of the way. And then from there, just slowly like adapt little by little and just like keep pumping out. You have to like be very consistent, especially when starting. Because if you're not, then you'll just quit or you'll just be frustrated that one video didn't do well. And you're like, oh, this sucks. Why is YouTube against me? A lot of people quit because of like that. They're like, oh, YouTube just doesn't like me. No, it's just that people don't like your
Right.
Your thing is not interesting because YouTube, the whole thing about YouTube is that they want people on their platform. So they will promote the videos that keep people on the platform. So it's just that your video isn't keeping people on the platform, your videos. So it's not YouTube. It's your videos most of the time. It's always the video, mostly. A little bit of luck. Yes, the algorithm luck. That's some channels you just randomly see blow up. And then I analyze their video and it's just like whatever, like any other channel could like could done that. but for some reason YouTube chose them. I can't tell you why. It just happens.
Yeah,
If luck
well,
is
that's a
not
good
on your
word.
side, you just gotta stubborn your way through it. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, and usually it's pretty rare for someone to blow up with only a few videos. And then usually those channels that do, they had 7 other failed channels. So it's actually like their 100th video. Not always, but
Exactly.
hmm but
Yeah.
it takes practice and it's a lot of skills to learn. And so the stubbornness is so key. Like you got to just stick to it or you'll never get there. So
Yeah.
that's super cool. Super good word. Um, Couple questions, as I mentioned, on kind of biz dev or like business side. Um, how do you think about your YouTube channel as a part of your business, maybe going forward? Are you hoping that sponsorships will be kind of your core monthly income and then games will be big spikes? Or how is the SamYam brand kind of hoping to operate in the next couple of years?
Well, years is a long time. I don't plan
Let's
that
just
far
say
ahead.
right now then.
Yeah, so um sponsors is definitely a large chunk of the income that I make and that most people make on YouTube. Like you also have affiliate marketing, which I don't do as much, but it does have like a nice little income. Like the Fiverr videos also give me some affiliate marketing, some affiliate links. So if someone like buys something and converts, like I get, a nice amount. And I'm like, that's nice. You also have the AdSense revenue, which isn't a lot for me in my case. But it's just nice to have like all these sources of passive income. And I think for me, my channel will be like my brand. So I'll keep making these videos and I'll just kind of push people towards like buying stuff later, like my games or maybe a course. I don't know yet. But yeah, it's supposed to just make it easier to sell things later on for me, like as a business in a business sense, and obviously like sponsors too. Like, yeah, it's nice get some sponsor money.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking a little bit similarly long term for my channel. Are you hoping to be a YouTuber first that also makes games, or are you hoping to be a game developer that also kind of does YouTube?
Um, I want to do both. In the last year, it was hard to do YouTube. Like my videos slowed down a lot because of the games, and I was just super, super burnt out in general. Making the games. It's hard to dedicate to both. But I definitely want to place more importance on it, like coming soon, and like kind of do like I kind of want to switch things up a little bit. It's a little stuff coming up.
Yeah, and then I think you already mentioned it in our kind of past conversation about bus buddies, but I think you said you were handling maybe more of the like Steam marketing side. Do you
Yeah,
enjoy the marketing kind of side of game dev, or is that something that you're less interested in?
I mean I have to do it. Either way, doesn't matter if I enjoy it or not. I enjoy seeing it do well. If it does do well, like the
Hmm.
views, I like seeing the view counts go up. If it's a good video. Um, but it's something I have to do either way. So if I'm gonna be a solo developer, like it's gonna be primarily on me to figure out how to market the game. And I kind of want to figure out how, like as a challenge. Like I like being challenged. I like challenging algorithms. Like you think you can best me? I'll figure out how to beat you. Not in
Yeah,
not in a
maybe it's
bad way.
just yeah, maybe it's just the way I'm wired because I enjoy business and I'm kind of like a business nerd, but I'm like it's in some ways similar to a game design problem of like how can I find the correct tags and how can I get the algorithm, to work. So I feel like a lot of game developers, that's probably not true, but I feel like they would enjoy it if they got into it, but maybe
I
I'm
don't
just over
I don't think
analyzing.
so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you also have to like talk and script and then like research other trending things constantly. That part I do like.
Hmm.
The research trending, I like that a lot. And talking, I can talk. But most game devs don't want to like talk or like really awkward. Usually,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
95% of them are just like really awkward or like bad at speaking. No offense to you guys.
Sure.
I'm just saying, like some videos I see that it's like you can tell it's the developer. Or even if you go to GDC, like GDC was the perfect example. Where you go into these lecture halls and you just have the developers that make it explain it. I was like trying not to fall asleep half of the time.
Mm.
So I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. I mean, like, it's interesting, but like the monotone, like, da 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 da. And I'm still jet lagged.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can talk well, which is honestly something I've kind of trained also, like when I'm talking on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm always like changing my pitch when I'm doing the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also always keeping in mind like how I'm sounding, which is also a lot of work. But
Sure.
I forgot the initial question.
Yeah, we were just kind of
It's
talking
fine.
about marketing. I was kind of saying that I think a lot of developers would like marketing, and you were saying maybe not.
No.
I guess, though, my
I'm
one
kidding.
thing is whenever I think about marketing, I don't think you have to put yourself out there. Like, I
Yeah.
think the current meta, as I understand it, and again, this is just from the people I've talked to, like the developers of a game about feeding a black hole. Well, they're a bad example because he actually does have a
Yeah.
YouTube
I was like,
channel.
wait, that's not a good example.
But they also emailed like 500 like streamers. And so I think you could just do that part because anyway, I don't need to give my 2 cents on all of it.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, in his case, he emailed the streamers, but even the way you email it is a way of talking in a way. Like you still have
Sure.
to reach out to people.
Right.
And he probably, like, just by emailing, he probably included, I don't know how he emailed them, but he probably included like some credentials. Like, oh, I'm this
That's
person.
a good point. Yeah.
Like, it's not just some random ass email that's like,
Yeah.
can you please try my game, please?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, you have to be
That's a
very
good point.
strategic about it. And all that takes time and energy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Continuing, just last question on kind of biz dev space. Do you have anything with marketing or Steam that you kind of disagree with maybe the like meta right now or like whatever the conventional wisdom is?
With marketing.
Yeah, marketing or maybe the Steam meta in general.
The Steam meta is right now to make friend slot and to make, I don't know, an incremental, I don't know, like the clicker, I don't know, like
Those are the two, yeah.
those are like the two that are being pushed. Which it's good to make it, but usually by the time you hear about the meta, like all the games are coming out
Right.
already about that meta. So I think it's if you can combine genres more than other people, because if you can get to that meta is fine, but you have to be really quick about it. And all people are not quick, but there are some very quick people out there that release games like very quickly, like a game about digging a hole in like a month. They made it. And it made like $1 million+ dollars.
Insane.
Yeah. There's also the meta of where like don't make platformers, but now I've been seeing a lot of 3D platformers doing pretty well, and some 2D ones do pretty well. But they have a lot of style to them, so it depends on how you execute it. A lot of it, people always say it's not so much the idea, but it's like the game itself, and I totally disagree with that. Because the idea is what's going to sell you. Like when you read the Steam page and you see the screenshots, the idea is what sells you. It's not only the idea, it's the presentation. Like, how does the cover art look? Like, does it make you want to play it? The idea, the presentation, and then everything else, the color schemes, the typography. Essentially, everything has to sell you on it, which is it. That's why making games is very hard. It's even harder than YouTube, which I thought YouTube was very hard, but with games,
Yeah.
Because there's such a long development cycle. So yeah, with a thing where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter as long as the Another one is the graphics don't matter. It just has to be fun. The graphics definitely matter because that's what's gonna sell you on the game. Like I'm not gonna click on one that looks like a 3-year-old made it. Obviously, like I don't understand that take. That makes no sense. Like a lot of them is from gamers. They're like the graphics don't matter. It just has to be fun. But then they only buy games with good graphics,
Right.
and you're like, okay, yeah. And then for marketing, the meta right now is shorts and like short form content. It seems to be the new meta. And I agree with that. That's a good meta. Another meta is like making devlogs. Hit or miss, to be honest. There's some people that do it very well and have a lot of thousands of views, and then they convert. I think Blood Thief was one that did pretty
I'll
well.
have to look into that. Yeah.
I think it was made with Godot, Blood Thief, and another guy who made like this open world with like this tiny character and blonde hair. It did really well on YouTube, and that's how he got the audience. But you have to be really good at making videos that hook people for that. Otherwise, you might attract. If you're trying to make it too developer, you're gonna attract developers. And usually, some of them do buy your game, but it's not really a big audience that's gonna buy your game. You want to appeal to like your actual audience that would buy your game, not just the people who support you. Because then, it helps, but Steam is gonna want to push it to those type of people, and so if it sees that those type of people are playing the game, then maybe it might be like a little confused on like who to recommend the game to. So you want your game to be like played by people who would play your game, not by developers who just support you personally. And I think that's a big tricky thing with devlogs because it's a development log. So who's gonna watch it? The developers. So you have to like make it like super general. I think like you have to make it like you want to market it towards the people who would play your game, but then the people who play your game, would they watch those type of videos? And you have to like make it like, if you make a cozy one, you're like, making a little cozy game, like the whole devlogs. So it's really hard in essence because I don't even know. I'm making it up as I go. Everything's changing constantly. I don't know. It's just, it's hard.
Yeah, I'll have to look into Blood Thief because I think, all those things you brought up about devlogs are a huge challenge. And then even if you can go super broad, like, Danny, well, one, there's only one Danny, so you're not going to be as good anyway.
Yeah.
But two, it's probably appealing to a younger audience because it's so like snappy and so quick cutty. Where whenever you have such a broad audience, maybe you just get enough that it will work. But
yeah, I don't know what's going
otherwise,
on.
maybe not. That distracted me. Sorry.
I don't know why I'm so blurry.
That's funny.
But Danny was like the first game dev YouTuber that blew up. He's a special case.
Right.
But yeah, if you're going to have like children audiences, it's fine. But just remember they don't have money unless they ask their parents.
Right.
So a lot of them are going to want free games. That's why they love Roblox.
Right.
Also, you're going to have to deal with them. And good luck. Yeah, that's why he left the platform.
Right.
Because he was dealing with it.
Yep.
I'm
and then
sorry,
came back
but
with
they're kind
his
of
alter
annoying.
ego. Yeah.
Oh, the Veteran.
I think it's him, but maybe it's not.
Everyone
I don't know.
thinks it's him. I mean, it's a high possibility. I don't really know, but maybe.
Yeah, super fun topic to think about. Wrapping up, I have just a couple viewer questions. I let the people in my Discord submit questions for future guests. And Blame It On Your ISP was wondering how progress on Boombi is going. Are you still working on that?
It's on pause.
Okay.
But I am gonna finish it. But
cool.
it still needs to get done, like all the art and finish the levels and the sound. I was doing it, but then I got distracted with the other two games.
Sure.
Which were supposed to be 1 month, 2 month games, unfortunately.
Makes sense. And then Petty Poise, who is also a female developer, she was wondering how you handle the stigma of being a female in game development.
How I handle it. So it's kind of weird for me because I've always had like a lot of like guy friends, and like growing up, like I used to always like hang out with like guys and be into Yu-Gi-Oh and whatever. And then in like the tech class, and then in college, I took computer science, which was like the majority of it was men. So I'm kind of like used to like majority being men. So I didn't really think much of it. Like being different per se. I think it's actually a superpower to, have like a more of a different point of view. Because you can make cool experiences, not cooler, but cool experiences based on your point of views. And you have like different thoughts to add to like discussions and whatnot that maybe your counterpart might not have thought of based on like our experiences. But on YouTube specifically, I do get hate regarding my gender. And on Instagram too, I'm posting a little bit more now on Instagram. And now it's like, one comment was like, go to this, make a sandwich on the kitchen. I'm like, oh my God, how many times have like there has to be like 0 original thoughts here. Like, at first it was a little hard. Like I didn't show my face on YouTube for a long time on my channel because I didn't want to, that's something I struggled with. I didn't want my channel to like get bigger and people to only say it was because I was a woman. So that's actually why I didn't show my face for a long time. It's like I didn't want people to say that it wasn't my intellects, right? I wanted to, but then I realized that was not like a good line of thinking because people will always hate. It doesn't really matter. And well, after I accomplished that goal, I was like, I'll start to show my face now, and people did start saying that it was because I'm a woman, or like one comment, for example, was like, go get your boyfriend hiding like in the corner doing all the code for you, like
Yeah,
accusing me of having a guy coding. I'm like,
a woman
that'd be
could
super
never
impressive.
do that.
First of all, that'd be so impressive if I was like narrating over like the code.
Right.
I'd be so impressed. But basically I just learned to ignore them. I've been on YouTube for a long time, so I've like been exposed to my fair share of like comments. And after a while you just kind of like, you just have to like realize that the people that comment that are just like super insecure. Like I kind of feel bad for them. Which I think that's a good mentality to have. Like instead of like being angry, which you might feel initially, you're like, oh my God, like what have they gone through to have such a negative mindset towards a woman? Like poor them.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, it's all them. Like you just have to realize that it's just internalized hate, and they have to spew it at like the first thing they see that they don't agree with. And so, once I start thinking like that, I'm like, whatever. Yeah. I'm helping more people.
Right. Yeah, well, sorry for any extra hurdles or hate you've received. But yeah, even just from this comment from Petty Poise, she also just says that you are awesome and congratulations on all of your games. I love your YouTube channel and I wish there were more female devs. And so
thank you.
You are inspiring and helping other people and even non-female developers. I'm a fan of your content and have, been a benefactor as well. So yeah, thanks for all your content and wading through that. I appreciate it a lot, as do others. And let me leave you with one final question as we wrap up this great conversation. So this is the Dev Dream Podcast, and I made it to inspire mostly myself, but also others by hearing what cool devs have going on in their own life. So I'm curious for you, Sam, what would you say is your game dev dream in this season of life?
My game dev dream? Like this year?
Just however that question, however you receive that question.
Dev dream is to publish a game on Steam and sell at least 100,000 copies. That is the dream. Just starting. And
Well,
then just
Sam, that's a
build a huge
fantastic
studio.
dream. Yeah, I hope you're able to make it a reality. Thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the interview. It's nice to meet you.
You as well.
Thanks.